The Hedgehog's Full Moon Party. Story by Richard Mayers. Illustrations by Abigail de Montfort. It was night time. The birds were all roosting in the trees. In the fields, the cows were slowly drifting off to sleep. As the moon peered out from behind the clouds, something began to stir beneath a large pile of logs. After much snorting, snuffling, and a bit of shuffling, Lavender the Hedgehog crept out of her home and shook her spines. She had enjoyed a wonderfully long sleep, but now she was feeling rather hungry. It was time for her nightly walk to find some dinner. Lavender squeezed herself under a gap in the fence. Then the hedgehog strolled over the vegetable patch, where she passed two hens, Daisy and Snowdrop. "Good evening, ladies," she said, shuffling along. "Evening, Lavender," they replied. "What a lovely night. It's nearly a full moon." Lavender eventually reached the patio and walked up to a bowl of meaty food that had been left out for her. She began to eat her dinner. After eating all her food, Lavender was thirsty and went to get a drink of water. She visited a pond which was shallow with a gentle slope. The water felt cool against her feet as she drank. That was when Lavender noticed something different about the pond. As Lavender walked back to her log pile house, she kept thinking about the mysterious creatures she had seen in the pond. The next evening was cloudy and dark, but that didn't bother Lavender. She was very hungry and wanted to visit the pond again. So she set off for her evening meal. She walked under the fence, through the vegetable patch, past the chicken coop, and then arrived for dinner at the patio. But Ginger the cat had devoured all of her food, leaving the hedgehog with nothing. Feeling very hungry, Lavender walked back to the vegetable patch to join Rosemary the mouse and Terry the toad for a bug feast instead. Afterwards, Lavender was thirsty and went to drink from the pond. When she arrived, the hedgehog noticed something looking up at her from within the water. There was more than one of them. "Hello again," Lavender called. The eyes blinked back at her, just before disappearing below the surface. As she returned to her cosy woodpile house, Lavender thought about all the creatures she had spent time with that night. The next evening was a very special evening. It was a full moon. This meant all of Lavender's friends would be out having fun. She decided that she would join them, but only after she had eaten. And so once again, the hedgehog began her nightly walk, snuffling past all of her favourite spots. To her delight, a shallow bowl of hedgehog biscuits and cat food was waiting for her. What a special treat! Lavender began to eat, munching and crunching the lovely food. Rosemary sat beside her and began nibbling and gnawing. "After we've eaten, let's go for a drink," suggested Lavender. "Yes, let's," squeaked Rosemary. The two friends walked down to the pond and were greeted by the most amazing sight. The pond was bursting with life. Lavender could not believe how many tiny little creatures were hopping about the edge of the pond. "Hello," a little voice called. Lavender looked down and saw a tiny baby frog staring up at her. "Good evening," Lavender replied. "What's your name?" "You can call me Lily," the little frog croaked. "Would you like to come to my party?" Lily asked. "Why, I'd love to," the hedgehog replied. "What are you celebrating?" "Our freedom," she replied. "We're having one final dance around the pond before we leave." Lavender and Lily had such fun dancing under the full moon with all of Lily's family. "Where are you going?" Lavender asked. Lily hopped onto some rocks and replied, "On an adventure." "Oh, that sounds marvellous," remarked Lavender. It had been a splendid night. As Lavender set off back home, she kept thinking about her new friend, Lily. Feeling excited about what adventures tomorrow would bring, Lavender curled up into a ball and drifted off to sleep. The end.